Kevin Newman has it at shortstop, and the Diamondbacks have a 6-0 win. Their first Dodger Stadium shutout since September of 2017, and their first series win in this ballpark since April of 2018. They take a series at Dodger Stadium for the first time in 6 years.
Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug Arizona Diamondbacks recap for May 13th through May 26th, 2024. I'm Chris Patrick, that's Michael Benjamin, and we're here to break it all down for you. In the last 2 weeks, the Arizona Diamondbacks have again gone 6-6 over 4 series. This now puts them at 25-28 on the season and 4th in the NL West. We start this recap at home for a 3-game series with the Cincinnati Reds. In Game 1, Kevin Newman hit a 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th to get the walk-off win for the Diamondbacks, and the series was off to a good start. Unfortunately, the Snakes dropped Game 2, but they were able to squeak out a 2-1 victory in the final game of the series thanks to a Lourdes Gurriel Jr. double that brought home Corbin Carroll. Next, the Diamondbacks would host the Detroit Tigers at Chase Field for another 3-game series. An ugly pair of games to start that was highlighted by a 13-0 loss in Game 1. The Snakes only managing 3 hits in the entire ballgame. An 8-3 loss in Game 2 was at least a slightly better performance, but still no consolation. And in the final game of the series, the Diamondbacks were able to avoid the sweep, winning 6-4, a much-needed break heading into their next battle. And after a short flight to California, the Diamondbacks start a 3-game series against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Dbacks would lose Game 1 6-4, the Dodgers scoring all 6 of their runs in the 3rd inning, highlighted by a Freddie Freeman grand slam off Slade Cecconi. But the Diamondbacks might have taken that personally and were able to bounce back and win the final 2 games of the series, giving them their first series win over the Dodgers since the 2023 NLDS. And we finish out the last 2 weeks back at home for what we all hoped would be a good break from tough competition as the Miami Marlins came to town. For the 3rd straight series, the Snakes lose Game 1, being shut out 3-0. Opposing pitcher Braxton Garrett threw all 9 innings for the Fish. A tough day for Zach Gallen, getting absolutely zero help from the offense. In Game 2, the Diamondbacks were able to even the series a game apiece with a 3-2 win and an electric Paul Sewald save. But unfortunately, Game 3, another low-scoring bout, ends in defeat for the Snakes, falling 3-1, and another series loss on the record. But now we'll go ahead and pass it over to Michael Benjamin for his thoughts on the last 2 weeks. What you got, Mike?
Staying alive and stacking wins. Well, we're doing one of those things right now. I mean, Chris, let's remember 40% of our wins this year are against the Rockies and the Reds. So it was good to follow the narrative to start this recap, right? Unfortunately, Slade Cecconi, he just can't go 2 times through an order. Which held us back from another series sweep of the Reds. But obviously, let's make sure we highlight the biggest positive from the past 2 weeks. Going to Los Angeles and getting our first series win against the Dodgers in LA since April of 2018. That was big time. We had stellar performances from Brandon Pfaadt through 6 innings and 7 Ks, and a starting platoon of Brandon Hughes and Ryan Nelson to shut out the Dodgers in Game 3. Also, it was the D-backs' old way of offense, it seemed like. Peppering the ball across the field, bringing some power from Sewald and Marte, Corbin finding some more pop. But the overall theme from the past 2 weeks is just the lack of energy and offense against these bottom feeders, man. And losing series, you just absolutely have no business dropping. Chris, I'm beyond shocked at how lifeless the Snakes came out against Detroit. Yes, Tarek Skubal might be the starting pitcher in the All-Star game for the AL, but holy hell, like that's what we get after an off day? Your first hit doesn't come until the 5th inning when it's 11-0. Yikes. No run support through 5 innings against Detroit, and then like you said, no run support at all against Miami for your ace Zach Gallen. Now Kevin Ginkel of all people is in a bad rut. Wild pitches, unforced errors. 4 total runs against possibly the worst team in baseball, the Miami Marlins, in the entire series. Like, Chris, the truth of the matter is the longer we have to keep waiting for these guys like Eduardo Rodriguez and Merrill Kelly, the longer we have to keep platooning out a pitching staff that just isn't ready to contribute on the big league level right now. Putting the bullpen in flux and keeping guys out of rhythm that need it. And obviously, it's not all pitching. The bats need to come alive. Man, oh man, June is a huge opportunity to slingshot back into a wild card spot, start building some space for a long, long summer grind. So lots of work to do. But Chris, what have you seen these past 2 weeks, man?
Mike, you're absolutely right. The pitching is still a problem, and I am also more concerned about the lack of offense right now. I mean, Tallman pointed it out in our last recap. The Snakes have not been as aggressive on the base pass this season, currently ranked 27th in the league for stolen bases. I would have never guessed that that would be the case when this season started. And as players like Geraldo Perdomo and Alek Thomas get healthy, I'm really curious to see what they do with guys like Kevin Newman and Jake McCarthy, who have both been playing pretty well, honestly better than most of the guys we've grown to rely on, like Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. And we can talk about Ketel Marte's 21-game hit streak, but honestly, during that time, his batting average dropped. He was only getting about one hit in all of those games. Newman, however, the last 2 weeks batting .359 with 3 RBIs and 5 home runs. And Christian Walker is starting to heat up. He's got 11 hits, 3 home runs in the last 2 weeks. But Corbin Carroll is straight up not having a good time, guys. He's still struggling to get on base, and that is a clear correlation to the lack of stolen bases. I mean, this guy had 53 stolen bases last season. He basically averaged at least 1 stolen base in every series. We just haven't seen the same guy this season. Call it a sophomore slump, call it shaking the rust off, or the World Series hangover, but I don't need any excuses. I just need Carroll and this entire team to start doing better. But let's pump the brakes, Mike. With still over 100 games left in the season, I don't want to hit the panic button just yet. But as we've said, this team needs to get healthy. They need to beat those lesser opponents and start stacking some goddamn wins. And they might just have a chance to do that over the next 2 weeks. Mike, what are we going to see for the Dbacks in the next 2?
Well, Chris, we hope everyone enjoyed the Memorial Day weekend, hopped in the pool, and did some grilling, because we are back to it on Tuesday, May 28th for a 2-game matchup in Arlington against the reigning World Series champion Texas Rangers. Hopefully we can get some revenge. Then it's off to New York for a 4-game matchup against the Mets. Then it's time for some division work as the Diamondbacks head home to face the Giants and finish up our 2-week stint in San Diego against the Padres. Opportunities are knocking, Chris, that's for sure.
Guys, of course, you know we're going to keep bringing you a Diamondbacks recap every 2 weeks throughout the season. So make sure you like and subscribe for more Arizona Diamondbacks and Valley Sports action. For Michael Benjamin, I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.